All right, so let's bring Pastor K, Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo to the stage here. There's a conversation that I had meant to react to earlier, and now Pastor Kingsley and Pastor Mildred, they have a whole gang of people out there. Shout out to Natu, who linked me up with the team. I was able to volunteer and help them with their program in Staten Island, New York, a little while back. And I got to hang out with Natu too. He has the only Pastor K is the closest to what you might want to consider my ideologies when it comes to relationships. Okay, power-driven, seduction. He's heavy. He used different words, but he's very heavy on seduction and attraction. But he used different semantics to describe them, right? But I know when I hear what I'm trying to say, right? And he's the closest that I've seen. Everything else, especially when it comes to pastors, it's like, oftentimes they're coming from a place of common sense, and common sense is a terrible guide, you know. Common sense ends up in the butter all the time. Yeah, common sense is just so it's the closest, but there's this video of his that went viral the other day, and this lady here, Uche Ebere, actress Uche Ebere, knocks, shout out to Instablog Nigeria, this headline says, actress Uche Ebere knocks Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo for advising couples not to have kids immediately after marriage. Now, I need to be clear about something. I'm not afraid of the online gangs or anything like that, but I actually care about making sure the message lands, okay? So what I want to do is I want to add context, okay? I want to add some context. And usually that's what I'm doing to anybody, to be honest with you, adding context. Because again, like I always say, everybody is truth tellers. Everybody is saying the truth because it relates with where they're coming from. But there's always a blind spot that's all of us don't pay attention to. Like we can only see so far, right? But there's always a blind spot. Even when we turn around and try to see, now you've created a new blind spot. So we have to be guided and make sure we apply open-mindedness to more wisdom as we're addressing anything that has to do with relationships in general, But anyway, so Uche Ebere says, confused pastor, children that brings happiness to the family. You're now changing it that children bring fight to the family. Now, wow. Okay, now we will see how the main fight will be. Like when the couple are ready, maybe after 5 years of their enjoyment in marriage. Then the children are not coming. To get pregnant, Abulu war. Anyway, I pity the gullible people that listens to this kind of businessman, men of God. Now, she's responding that way because she obviously doesn't care for his brand, right? There's a good chance she's never listened to his full video either, right? But she has the right to her opinion. But she's taking, see, I've said how many buts now. She's taking him out of context, okay? The background or the backstory is that Pastor Kingsley, let me just play it for you. I think it's here. There you go, it's here.
Don't rush to have children. Once you have children, your life will never. I didn't tell you now.
Let's replay that.
See, if you marry young, enjoy yourself.
He said, if you marry young, enjoy yourself. Okay, so we're not just going to pretend like he didn't say if you marry young. Let's continue.
Don't rush to have children. Once you have children, your life will never.
He said, don't rush to have children. If you rush to have children, your life will never. Now, I would push against Pastor Kingsley here, but maybe it's more so I'm adding context, right? If you have children later, your life will still never, right? So now it's a question of matter of preference, right? Do you want to have it early and get used to the idea that your life will never, because any significant events in our life, especially when it has to do with life and death, our life will never, wherever it ended, our life will never finish it You can finish it in the comment for me, okay? Our life will never, any event that involve life or death. It's just what it is, right? But we also engage this event because it's progressive. It's part of how humanity progresses, right? We don't exactly have a choice. The only thing we're trying to do is pause time. And time is nobody's mate. But what is young, right? Let's see.
I didn't tell you now. I didn't tell you now. If you are young, or if you marry and you are still young, you are under 30s or very mid, at the brink of 30 or some 31.
If you're 30, 31 and you got married, I don't consider that young. I don't, okay? I don't consider that young. Right? I don't know what math or what clock we're using this nowadays, but the clocks are the same across the board, right? We have 24 hours in a day. Average life expectancy. Let me see, because these are the reality that we pretend about when it comes to religion, right? Average life expectancy in the United States is 76 years, right? So that 76 years does not increase just because you're a Christian, right? It doesn't, right? I don't know if you sector away Christianity and people that are Christian. I don't know if their life. I don't know if anybody did that math. But bottom line is that in 2021, a baby born in the U.S. in 2021 has an estimated life expectancy of about 76 years old, according to National Center of Health Statistics. Okay, so now if we change that to Nigeria, I think something about 52 years old is coming up. 52 years old. And Nigeria, if you ask me, this is just my anecdotal, right? They are more religious than America. In fact, according to many people, America is the Sodom and Gomorrah of our generation, right? But the stats are confused. The statistics are confused at best. Right? So anyway, the point I'm making there is that time no be our mate, right? Does that mean you should rush into issues? No. But I also want you to be aware that you can't put time on hold. You can't. Prayer doesn't. At an individual level, you might even give testimonies and say, I was able to hold time. I don't know where to go with this conversation. Okay, but let's see what Pastor Kingsley is trying to say. But right there, he said 31 years old, and he insinuated that 31 years of old is young. Now, that's a very subjective word. What do we mean by young? Young to do exactly what? That's the question. It's a question for you too. Like, let's engage the conversation in the comment area, right? Well, too young for what? Exactly, 31. Too young to not wait 5 years before you start having babies? Let's continue.
You still, as a man, if you still have the time, please know yourself. All these women are just marry and 9 months after the kingdom come.
So if you marry at 31, I'm going to use the worst case scenario, because this is real life, right? Just for this study, I want us to engage the conversation in the comments. Okay, maybe I'm off, right? If you marry at 31, you wait 9 months. No, you don't wait 9 months, okay? You impregnate yourself instantly. By the time you're 32, you're having your firstborn, right? Granted, if your firstborn is now 21 and graduating college when you are 51 years old, it's not bad, right? It's not bad, right? Now, if you did it at 25, it's not much difference, right? Circumstances might make you wait in life anyway. You don't exactly control what you do, which is precisely why I find it hard that people think they can control on the other end. Let's just wait. It's a question. I'm asking. Educate me, right? So if you now suddenly decide at what age is it going to suggest? 33, after you've enjoyed yourself, that I want to start having children. Is there a guarantee that they will come? That's one question. If you decide to start having baby now, is there a guarantee that the baby will come? No, it doesn't too, right? But at least you know what you're dealing with. At least it's weird too. The major issue that I have with this conversation is there's a level of arrogance that I'm smelling. It's not coming from an intentional place, not Pastor Kingsley himself, but anybody who think they can just put things like this on hold. Natural things, let's put it on hold. You don't have to rush. People will say, well, don't rush to be an adult. You can stay home as a man until you're 29. I'm like, it's not just that simple, right? There's a lot that you learn as a grown man if you step out there and start exploring the world that we live in. There's a lot of things you learn that you're just not going to learn after 25 under your parents, right? You're going to put those things on hold to do what? To protect yourself from life, right? What exactly is the experience that we're afraid of if you have kids right away? He's going to talk about it. These experiences are real. Let's not get it twisted, okay? Children will in fact change the rest of your life. It is what it is, right? Right? So, but I think he's suggesting that you can put that on hold or become better with time, because you will find yourself outside of having children, self-discovery outside of marriage, relationship. I just want you to think deeper about it. I don't want to give you answers. I don't have answers, because precisely what I'm saying is that there's a level of arrogance that we're applying to things that are supposed to happen naturally, right? Maybe some nurturing, socialization is involved in it too, but the biological clock part of it, all the clock of life, the life expectancy part of it, that's not nurturing. That's just that's where we are in technology, right? That's why you see in United States 76 and in Nigeria is 52 life expectancy as of 2021. Let's continue.
It shakes many marriages because you never know your wife, not know your husband. Picking don't come. Picking no they send anybody home. It will pull both of you. Wife, it will pull your body, pull your attention. Husband.
That's true. And I said, I know you want me to finish playing it. I'll finish playing it, right? So that's very true, right? But I said earlier that anything remotely close to I found myself did not happen until 11 years in marriage for me. 9 years minimum. 9 years. Okay? 9 years. Right? But that's not a bad thing. It's a process from when we started, right? And then people are attempting to know everything about all of my 9 years before they enter marriage. And then they are surprised with stories like Uche and Nino B. What are we talking about here, right? It's true. He's right. That children will pull you left and right. It's like when people say, well, marriage is tough. I'm like, tell her and call. Anything that's worthwhile in life it's not easy. That's the reality of your degrees, how you became a nurse, a doctor, a medical doctor, a lawyer, an IT specialist. That's your reality of everything that's worthwhile that you chase after. Except that in marriage, and when it comes to having kids, we forget to talk about the benefits. Either it's sentimental or not. What are the benefits? Why are people moving in the direction of what I call nature for now, right? Why? We just forget about that and just put it on hold, right? We don't put our degrees on hold like that. Why? Because we know there are consequences for doing that. As soon as we find out that, well, I want to better myself, you engage it. You just say, well, let me enjoy my life and put my degrees on hold until I'm 50. After all, we can always do that at 50. It's only marriage and all the things that seems to look like nature that we disrespect like that. And time is nobody's mate. That does not mean you should rush into things, because I will never tell you should rush into anything. What I'm saying is to don't do the extreme opposite of rushing into things. Don't just put your life on hold because you think putting on hold will make things better. No, anything that's worthwhile in life is going to require much of you. It's going to take work. It's going to take growth. There's going to be growing pain. Okay? You don't get to escape this just because you put time on hold. Now, I did not hear the full message, so I'm sure he spoke to that. This is just a clip that Instablog Nigeria want to run with. I'm just saying. Okay, let's continue.
Pull your money, He go pull una. For now, go hit on herself. Say, you didn't have the child. Finish my boy. Useless.
That's funny.
Una go begin fight. That the pikin they pull una. They stress una. Night and I go
The Peking will stress you, yes.
sleep now. Now one sleep. Now you gonna say una they sleep and they awake. Yeah, yeah. You go wake una. Say una they sleep. Una they wake up everybody.
Everybody wake up.
See,
Everybody.
enjoy yourself. Don't rush to have children. Once you have children, your life will
See the
never.
rest of it.
And you have work the next morning. He doesn't care. Wake up, everybody. I said, what's doing? I don't know. Yeah, but I'll wake up first. Breastfeed, clean everything. Go wake up there again. I don't wake up now. And you know, for him, after that wake up now, you can't sleep. Say, hey, you can't sleep. But you don't wake up now. Your eye don't clear. You can't sleep again.
I believe that is something that you should be aware of what he's saying. It's the reality when you do start having kids. But just because you push it to 5 years, what I'm hiding to it is that just because you push that to 5 years later doesn't mean you won't go through it. It might actually be worse for you. In addition to the fact that 5 years is not a waste because you're reacting differently in a worst way. Because you're still not aware that it's just an awareness. You're not supposed to try to put time on hold for that. Right? You're supposed to just be aware that children will bring certain type of stress into your life. And there are studies, there are school of thoughts, there are counselors to help you through this process. The one thing that will not help you through that process is in the name of let's enjoy ourselves, let's put time on hold. You should be enjoying yourself regardless. If you're capable of doing that, you should be doing that regardless, you know. But maybe there's nothing I don't know. I mean, I don't know everything. That's just thoughts going through my mind. Educate me. Let me know. Let's rub minds together in the comment area. Let me go in this comment on Instablog Nigeria. This person says, I want to believe that you didn't understand the context. I believe that too. I believe it was taken out of context, yeah, of this message, ma'am. Lack of comprehension is the problem here. Wahala. Stray bullets everywhere. Even me self collect stray bullets. We're not in the 80s anymore. Couples need to bond. Enjoy their marriage before bringing forth children. Yeah, I no one has been able. I've been hearing this for years. Okay, and I know that a lot of women, in particular, that have gone through terrible experiences in marriage, tend to blame children. They partly blame children. They felt like they lost themselves as soon as they enter marriage, so they create this cookie cutter type of solution, overgeneralized, oversimplified solution, which is let's just put time on hold. We can control when we have babies. If the babies don't come, we adopt. They come up with this, you know. So and the cases I'm hearing are not justifying it. They're still not justifying it. I think as a choice, you should do it if you want to do that. But I want you to know that the work is not inside of pushing time forward. The work is in being aware. The awareness that children will bring stress to your life. And so you need to identify, engage, understand the rewards. What rewards are you looking for? I think that's what she was trying to say, which is why she said children that's supposed to be blessing. Now, wow, she was taking him out of context, but a lot of people are disconnected from the fact that you shouldn't be having children just because you want to have children. You should have a well-identified purpose behind that, so that you won't start judging those children. When they do get here, you're prepared, you're aware that anything that's worthwhile, not just children or marriage, anything that's worthwhile in life does not come easy. There will be growing pain, but the other side of it is the reward. Okay, I couldn't imagine pushing my child, my 15-year-old now, 5 years ahead. I just couldn't imagine it. Life wouldn't end, but I prefer the way we did it. We were that story. 9 months later, she's pregnant. That was us. Okay, that was us, you know. So, yeah, I couldn't imagine doing it any other way. Now, one of the things, I know that women do that because my wife did the same thing. When we're going through crisis, one of the things that she pointed fingers at is like, she didn't say, like, she wasn't pointing fingers at the children, but she would say in rhetoric that people are getting married and they're having children right away. This is part of the problems that they're having. No, that's not part of the problems. People are getting married and not learning anything about marriage. They didn't take any time to learn anything about marriage, and they don't remain a student of marriage after they get married. That's the problem. Not the children, not the timeline for the children, not because they didn't bond at the beginning. They've been bonding. She said that we were bonding for 3 years before we had our child, before we got married, right? So everyone is coming up with cookie cutter solutions, and these are the issues. Okay, it's case by case by case. Couple don't necessarily bond more because they decide to push children to 5 years later. That is cap. Okay. Couples need to bond, enjoy their marriage before, so that's an indication that you don't enjoy the marriage after children come. Imagine the expectations you're setting up for your marriage after children start coming. So now you tell your husband, like, Abi, grow up. After all, we enjoyed 3 years before we had children, and now you are asking me for your attention. Imagine the unrealistic expectations attached to that. Imagine how massive that is. Just think about it, right? It's huge responsibility, and that's a fact. Okay, yes, it is huge responsibilities. So you see, they mix everything up in truth and half lies and half truth, and it's a struggle. Also, if you don't have the finances yet, it won't be wise to embark on that journey. Well, I wouldn't say if finances is really that much of a big deal for you, then you shouldn't be getting married in the first place, you know. But again, we yield. Somebody said, "Mommy, please, this is not 80s or 90s anymore. Couple need to work extra and save extra before having babies." That goal will never be accomplished. It's never going to be enough. Why? Because you're disrespectful to nature. Okay? Somehow, some way, you collect for this type of mindset. You know? Because it's just never enough. It's the same. It's very similar to chasing after money. Oh, what am I talking about? Yeah, let's chase after money and put everything on hold. Right? Somebody says here, this woman likes to talk in an abusive manner. She did. She was quite rude. but she doesn't know him. So I guess she just thought she was talking to any pastor. Right? People talk at pastors all the time in Nigeria these days. Right? This woman likes to talk in an abusive manner instead of making her point politely and intelligently. I wonder how her husband copes. Voila. Uche Ebere just collected though. Stray bullet. Well, not stray, meant for her. He's speaking statistically. The research shows that there's higher divorce rate amongst couples that have children immediately after marriage. Nearly 70% end up in divorce. Couples that start having children after a year or two of marriage, but cloud chasing won't let this lady think through this cluster. Is that a real research? I wonder if there's a research, because I'll be interested in that research, and I'll be interested in getting down into what their inferences are, or how they concluded to that. Because stats it's not good enough to just quote stats, right? That's the way they do those studies, that we have to be guided. We have to interpret the studies. Okay. So let me see if I can see anything with regards to that research. Let's see. It's important to approach such statistics with caution and consider various factors that could contribute to the observed results, right? You gotta be careful with saying some of those things. Like I said, case by case. There are people that use research and statistics to confirm their bias all the time. But maybe that's what I am doing right now. But let me just see. I'm trying to see if I can see anything using some of my resources here. Then we can end this section. All right, so I found something. Let's see if we can. A study by the CDC found that couples who had a child within their first 8 months of marriage were only 48% likely to have their marriage last 15 years or more. This compares to 67% of couples who waited at least a year to have a child. Now, 1 year is not bad, okay? 1 year. And they said 8 months, 1 year. Well, the child will come 1 year later if you wait 3 months before you impregnate each other, right? 1 year, even 2 years is not bad, right? So you might even want to take 1 year to go through classes about babies and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with being intentional in that way. But she said 5 years, and I've seen people say 5 years. And that 5 years thing, to me, is arrogance. It's you telling God that I determine when I bring children into this world. And I don't know. Anything you can learn in 1 year, you probably won't learn in 5 years. Okay? Any bonding that you don't do in that 1 year, you're probably not going to do in never. Okay? Again, I really want to know your thoughts on this in the comment area. So, there are a few reasons why this might be the case. First, having a child is a major life change. That's true. That's what Pastor K was talking about, right? That's a fact, right? And it can put a lot of stress on a marriage. Couples who are not yet financially or emotionally, more importantly, for me, is always emotional, because money follows emotion. Not the other way around, right? Couples who are not yet financially or emotionally ready for parenthood may be more likely to divorce. Second, couples who have children immediately after marriage may not have had enough time to get to know each other. See, getting to know each other, this part right here, if I was part of the study, I would say getting to know each other is a lifelong journey. Okay? No, I'm not taking that out of context. Literally, you must keep an open mind for the rest of your life in getting to know your partner. That's the only way. Anything that looks like or comes off as pride, like you finish knowing each other in a finite period of time, will backfire. That's my opinion. Okay, I've seen enough to say that. Okay, the main point I'm driving home there is keep an open mind always. As long as you are in that spirit of I'm getting to know this person, then you can stay in that seductive zone where you're not too big to seduce your partner. A lot of people are entering the zone where they become too big to seduce their partner. What is that? Is that food? Okay. Some young girl or young man somewhere will show you she's food or he's food or not. Anyway, and build a strong foundation for their marriage. They may not have had the opportunity to resolve any conflict or issues that they may have had before getting married. Conflict handling, issues handling is for the rest of your life. So that second point right there will have to, for me at least, will have to end up in the bottom. All right. Finally, couples who have children immediately after marriage may be more likely to have unplanned pregnancies. All right, so you're married, unplanned pregnancies. I don't see the correlation. That's weird. But we didn't say, hey, we're trying to get. How many times have you heard people say we're trying to get pregnant now? By the time they're saying that, it's usually about 4 or 5 months that they've been trying and it's not clicking. I'm not trying to plant sow seeds in your mind. I'm telling you that's the reality of fertility. Fertility is not your mate. Okay, it's actually harder than most people think. We had it easy, and I found myself talking very recklessly in the past because we had it easy. For a lot of people, it's a tough thing to accomplish, to just get pregnant, right? So you're married and you're saying unplanned pregnancies. I smell all kind of pride in that. But I'm open to your opinions on that. Unplanned pregnancies can be a source of stress and conflict inside a marriage. The issue with that is the foundation. The foundation that says we can get married and I have to agree to get pregnant, as opposed to it being a default, expected default. But we're in the woke zone, the woke era. So everybody wants to communicate everything and they wonder why they're crumbling before it's too much weight for yourself. You're carrying too much weight. Things that are supposed to happen naturally, you turn it to wahala for yourself. That's the issue. I think that's the issue. But maybe it's not an issue. Maybe it's just the natural order, direction we're going, since we are learning and getting more civilized and learning everything. But all this knowledge is not helping. Obviously, there's a downside to all of this useless knowledge. Somebody, there's no useless knowledge. I know. That's part of the problem. Right? Because that's just an ideology, right? Everything has double-edged sword, right? All right. So it says unplanned pregnancies can be a source of stress and conflict in the marriage, and they can make it more difficult for couples to adjust to parenthood. Right. Of course, not all couples who have children immediately after marriage will get divorced. However, the research does suggest that there is an increased risk of divorce in these cases. I would argue that it's still a symptom. If that is the reason why they divorce, if you dig in deeper, there's other reasons there that has to do with unrealistic expectations, pride, right? And the third, whatever that is. Somebody help me. What's the third one in the comment? Unrealistic expectations and pride. Actually, it's the two things. Unrealistic expectations and pride, right? I will trace it back to that. Somehow I will find a way, have a discussion, have a conversation to trace it back to pride and unrealistic expectations. And the only thing that can push against what I just said is, oh yeah, but we should have conversation about everything. Well, like I said, that is a lot of weight that clearly your generation cannot handle because it's still not working. Okay. If you're considering having children, it's important to weigh the risk and benefits carefully. The truth is that some people don't even think that's risky. It's a lot of risk to that, obviously, right? It's a life or death situation. You should also make sure that you're both financially and emotionally ready for parenthood. I will remove the financially completely. I will focus on the emotionally because money follows emotions. Okay, I will not allow financial rhetorics to overwhelm all the energy you need to engage emotional intelligence. You're gonna need all of it, every single ounce of it. Okay, and money, the way you want it, will follow that as well. As for the lady it's possible that she's, yeah. Anyway, let's leave like that. Let me leave the conversation open for you. I want to know what your thoughts are about this. Based off of everything we've discussed today, what are your thoughts? Should people wait 5 years? Or do you think 5 years is too much, 1 year is okay? But people should be aware. Is it time that they need or awareness? Let me ask you like that. Is it time that they need to mitigate the risk of children causing stress in their marriage, or the awareness that children do in fact cause stress in marriages? Which one would you go with? I'll see you on the next one.
Your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One loving up, we done enough.